Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast here today. I just wanted to talk to you today about ROTC program visits, and that is going to ROTC programs to learn more about ROTC before your actual interview with the program. And so, um, just to review how the ROTC interview process works, and I'll just break it out into the different programs. Army ROTC, you can do your interview at any ROTC program nationwide. So you have complete flexibility to decide when and where you do your interview. For Navy is the same as Army. You choose the program you want to do the interview at, and you do the interview there. For Air Force, you have to do the interview at your ROTC program that is closest to the address that you list on your application. So that is where you are required to do your interview. And then finally, for the Marine Corps, Navy ROTC Marine Corps option, you must do the interview with a Marine recruiter, and they schedule that on their own uh, separately. So you do not do the Marine Corps option interview at an ROTC program. You do it with the Marine recruiters. So given that, that you're either in control of the ROTC interview and where you do it, or for the Air Force ROTC, you're going to be forced to do it at your closest Air Force ROTC program. So let's just assume you're looking at doing this interview for the October board. That's in October, and so the October boards normally meet in the third week in October, and you have to get the interview done usually by the first or at the latest the second week in October. And so it's now September, and you have some time to learn more about ROTC before you do the actual interview. Well, my recommendation to you is to visit these ROTC programs ahead of time, ahead of your interview, so they get to know you, you get to know them, you get to learn more about the ROTC program, you get to learn more about ROTC. And, in the case of Army and Navy, you get to go there and see if you're going to get a halfway decent interview, because there may be some programs that you go there and you visit the program, and you may get a lukewarm reception, or they may be disengaged. Not every ROTC program is a good ROTC program to do an interview at. You're going to do your interview for Army ROTC with the professor of military science, and with Navy, it may be the professor of naval science, but it may not be. But you want to go there and check out the program and see if they're receptive to you. See if they're a place that's going to give you a halfway decent interview. Are they engaged? Are they excited to have you there? Are they people that seemingly care about the program and are going to when they sit down with you and evaluate you, are going to be ones that are going to give you a halfway decent shake. And the only way you know that is to go to the program and to check it out. Now, for Air Force ROTC, you have to do it at the program that's closest to where you live. So you need to figure that out, and you're going to be forced to go there no matter how good or bad the ROTC program is there. So you better get over there and get to know the people over there. Learn more about Air Force ROTC. Get to know the cadre. Get to know interview some cadets, and establish a good relationship with them before the interview. Now, when should you do this? You should do this, as soon as possible. But it takes some time to establish this relationship. So you're looking at, I would say, that you're looking at a month out that you're going to try to do this kind of get to know the program better types of interviews or visits to these programs. If you do your interview, say in the second week in October, I would say the latest that you'd want to do this is the last week in September, and preferably before the last week in September, because you don't want to do this too close to your interview, because it would seem contrived. Just going to a visit and then the next week doing an interview. So you're going to want to back this thing off a little bit, so that you can establish the relationship, so that when you actually do the interview, it seems natural and not one where you just visited the week before just to check things out and then do the interview the next week. So another, other than checking out the program and checking out, the cadre and checking out the cadets and kind of getting, building that relationship and not having to go into that interview cold, which is the last thing you want to do. You definitely do not want to go into these interviews cold, where the first time that the ROTC program people uh, see you is when you do the interview. You definitely want to go in ahead of time. But I mean, I think the other reason that you want to do these visits ahead of time is to build your knowledge of ROTC, as well as talk to officers and learn more about what officership is like in their service. Remember that the cadre there are active duty and have spent time in the service doing the things that you may be interested in their particular service. So you can learn a lot about the Army, Navy, Air Force by going to the program and learning more about that. And if you're going to be doing a Marine interview, I think going to a Navy ROTC program and talking to the Marines officers and non-commissioned officers there will help you learn more about what life would be like as a Marine Corps officer. And you can use this experience in the interviews that you do at the ROTC program or the orientation sessions to learn more about the service and use them in your essays and your interviews. Well, the second thing about going to ROTC programs ahead of time is that you can learn more about ROTC itself. You can learn more about what the requirements are, what the struggles that ROTC cadets and midshipmen have. What are they? What are the academic requirements? What are the physical requirements? And things like that. And you can gain insights in that way too. And you can use these insights on your essays as well as back into your interview. Because when they interview you, they're going to ask you, why do you want to be an officer? What do you know about ROTC? And through a visit, you can educate yourself better than just simply going to the internet and doing some research. So the visits really solve multiple issues that you would have before you actually do your ROTC interview. It gets you to know the cadre and the person that is likely going to interview you, as well as educate you about ROTC and the service in general. So I would definitely not go to an ROTC interview without actually having visited the program ahead of time and learn more about it at least once, if not more, before you do the actual interview. Now, finally, let's just talk a little bit about what you should do at this interview. So you should email the program ahead of time. Tell them that you're interested in learning more about ROTC, that you'd like to meet with a cadre member and perhaps interview or talk to some cadets or midshipmen to learn more about ROTC. So you send an email and then you set up a time. When you get ready to go and you've agreed to a time at the ROTC program, then dress in business casual uniform, business casual. I wouldn't wear a suit and tie, but I'd wear maybe a fancy dress. What I would wear is kind of a non-tie. Don't wear a tie if you're a male, but wear something, maybe a button-down shirt if you're a male, a blouse if you're a female, and be presentable to when you go. I would say that what you want to do in these interviews is you want to be enthusiastic at all times. So you want to be enthusiastic about ROTC. You want to let them know that you're excited about the possibility of becoming a ROTC cadet or midshipman, and that you're there to learn as much as you can possibly about the program, about what cadets and midshipmen do, what specialties there are in the service that you're going to be going into, what officers do in the military, and you should ask pointed questions. Like a great question you can always ask is, what can I do between now and when I become a cadet in ROTC or a midshipman in ROTC? Between now and when I come onto campus in the fall to be the best prepared cadet or midshipman that I can be. Another great question is what what additional things can I that are available in ROTC to do beyond just the classes? Is there summer training that I can participate in because I'm really interested in that? Is there like extracurricular activities that ROTC does beyond the class that I can do to become more involved? So you can ask those type of questions that show that enthusiasm, that show that desire to become part of the ROTC program. There is nothing to be gained by being negative, by asking a bunch of you know uh, questions about how long you have to serve and things like that, because that indicates that you may be hedging your bets, or maybe a person who's perhaps not fully interested in ROTC. If you start asking a lot of questions about how long you have to serve, how much does a scholarship pay, do I have to pay back the scholarship if I drop out of the program, and things like that. I mean, there's really nothing, frankly, to be gained in these sessions by not smiling, not being enthusiastic, or asking questions that may indicate that you're not fully all in with ROTC. So this should be an enthusiastic, smiling, the type of attitude you should have is that I would run through a brick wall to be a ROTC cadet or midshipman, and that should be the attitude you have. Do not bring your parents to this interview. You should be going into this interview on your standing on your own 2 feet, showing the cadre that it is you who is committed to the ROTC. Now, if your parents want to come at the end of your time that you have for the visit in order to ask a few questions, then they can do that. But you need to be out front, and you need to be the person who's signaling to the ROTC cadre that it's your decision to come to ROTC to be a cadet or midshipman, and it's not your parents who are making this decision. So I know I've covered some of these points in previous podcasts, but I wanted to reiterate these points here today, and to kind of reinforce to you the importance of these visits. Okay, in building up a relationship with these ROTC programs, so that when you actually go in and do your interview, you'll be ready to go, and the importance of smiling, being enthusiastic, and giving them the signal that you're excited about starting ROTC and that you want to learn everything that you possibly can. And I think, by doing that, by smiling, by being positive, enthusiastic, uh, and someone who clearly wants to be a part of the ROTC program, you'll make that positive first impression, so that when you come back and do your interview with the ROTC program, they'll be positively inclined towards you and be more inclined, whoever interviews you at the ROTC program, to give you that good interview that's going to be very, very important to determining whether or not you get a scholarship or not. So hopefully what I gave you today you can use and is informative, and we'll see you next time on the podcast.